When you care about everything happening around you and the impact on you and other people, for example, politics and the battles around, you care about your obligations and the challenges at workplace and socially, when you care about the global disruptions like COVID-19 and the Russia-Ukraine issue, when you care about the social dysfunctions happening around, how they are likely to affect you and people around you. It is okay to care, it is good to care, because in the current world, it is demanded of us to have some empathy. You know, where you raise your ability to relate and care for other people. We are told you listen with the other's ears, you feel with the other's heart, and you see with the other's eyes. That is empathy. It is a social skill, critical at the times we are in. However, if empathy is not engaged with limits, it comes at a cost. And the cost of engaging empathy without limits is your mental health. When you look at empathy as a resource, then you will understand that it can get depleted. And therefore, you need not overuse it to avoid depleting it. Also, when you look at empathy as an account, then you will understand it is easy to drain it. So empathy must be engaged with some sense of responsibility. Otherwise, you will find yourself at the zone of empathy fatigue. This is a state where you feel wasted mentally, physically, emotionally, because you have selflessly given yourself to and for others at the expense of yourself. You have continuously exposed yourself through helping others and experiencing awful happenings to an extent that you have developed numbness. You've developed a don't care attitude, such that this once very caring and an individual full of empathy has turned to be to look like you've no emotions for anything, to look like you don't feel anything even when bad news are given to you, like you don't care when people suffer anymore. So it is good you care, and care with some limits, to avoid compromising your mental wellness and turning into a person you are not. A quick illustration of potential candidates of empathy fatigue: our healthcare professionals, the physicians, the doctors, the nurses, the therapists. They have seen it all. People come in sick, they heal and go home. Come in sick, they stay in hospital for a long time. They come in sick and they die. And sometimes we think they don't care, but they have been exposed to these people dying every now and then until they are used to it. They are numb, you know. They look like they have no emotions. We have to feel for them. It's not their fault. It is what they have been exposed to continuously. And if I may confirm that. On Friday, August 26th, 2022, we read in one of the newspapers why doctors are reporting to work drunk. It was in one of our newspapers, August 26th, 2022. Out of pressure and burnout, lack of work-life balance. And it went to say that about 40% of medical practitioners experience either anxiety and they dread going to work. 49% are either at a breaking point or looking for new jobs, thanks to the stress and trauma they have to endure every time in line of duty. Another group of people likely to suffer empathy fatigue is the frontline workers. Look at the firefighters. Every time when they have to respond to an emergency, and probably they meet people who are burnt, people who are, you can't recognize them, and they have to go through it all. Our security agency personnel securing our country borders, in boarding forests and other areas where they have to keep law and order. We think they are heartless. We think they don't care. We think they are not human. But they are. But look at what they have to go through and how they have to deal with difficult situations to keep law and order. Not forgetting our judicial officers. They sit and listen to problems. Two parties come. They have no idea the genesis of the problem. They have to listen, and they are expected with justice and fairness to provide a way forward. Not easy. The lawyers too, how they have to sit, listen to you, and come up with a defense, and a defense that will promote the wellness of their client. I would want to look at the caregivers, a very special group, close to my heart, those taking care of people with chronic illness. They give themselves selflessly. They sacrifice to have time and energy to take care of the sick people. And most of the time they are forgotten, because all what we think about, even when we call them, is the well-being of the patient. They can find themselves in that state. And partners in an intimate relationship where one is living at the expense of the other, excuses after excuses. And one party has really to bear the other one, to be very accommodative, you know. Probably one is manipulative, abusive, and you have to put up with it for one reason or another. The party that is really being accommodative and patient with the nonsense of the other party can really get into an empathy fatigue zone. Another special set of healthcare service provider, the morticians, those who receive and prepare and keep in good shape our loved ones when they have rested. And they issue the same to us when we are going to lay them to rest. They suffer receiving, dead bodies, having to interact and engage with them and prepare them for their loved ones is not easy. So if these people don't take time to understand their nature of work and how they need to draw the line at what the point they need to take a stop and take a step back so that they rest, they get rejuvenated, they reconcile and be restored so that they have the energy physically, mentally, emotionally to take care of themselves and others, they can get drained, because empathy can drain you, It can waste you. It can leave you feeling wasted if you do not engage it wisely. It is a resource. It is an account that you need to engage wisely. It presents differently. The symptoms of empathy fatigue, they can be emotional, they can be physical. A person starts withdrawing from social engagement. To some extent, they don't even want to go to work. And when they go to work, they can't start a task and continuously see it to the end. They seem to procrastinate. They are exhibiting a burnout state. Emotionally, they are not able to even be compassionate to themselves, no self-care at all. They respond to others very at a low key, or they do not respond at all to others. They are irritable. Anything small will anger them. Some of the emotional symptoms you need to look out. And once you go through the checklist and identify a signal, it is good you take a step back. So 3 ways to take care of yourself. Raise your self-awareness. Know when you have had enough and it is time to stop. Check yourself. Are you well? Are you feeling drained? Are you feeling wasted? Are you feeling like you're losing it? It is a sign that you need to take a break from being active so that you have time to rejuvenate. Number 2, social media etiquette. Doom scrolling is real, where you look at the social media from one platform to another and you consume an overload of news that can drive you crazy and leave you feeling sad, leave you feeling you're full of fear and worry. You need to know when to stop. Then have real, meaningful connections. Don't go and engage with people simply because we are social beings. There are people who are not good for you. You don't have to step out if you don't feel like. You don't have to engage in social meetings if you feel you're not having the energy and the capacity to do so. Know when and how and with whom to engage with. So empathy is required of us, but empathy fatigue is equally a real zone you can find yourself in, and that means your mental wellness is compromised. Learn how to engage empathy with some wisdom. Empathy and mental wellness.